All right, Poland, next
Poland.
interview with our exhibitor from 2025 and
Yes.
also 2026 at the Cool
Yes.
Climate Wine Summit.
Yes,
I'm sitting here with Kamil Barczentewicz, correct?
Great, correct.
Thank you so much.
Barczentewicz,
I
yes.
mean, this is always like a little bit difficult, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
with the Polish pronunciation. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like so happy to be here, Kamil, and that you also like join us again, and like with many other quality Polish winemakers, because this is maybe also like a little bit the thing people are not really aware of, that there is wine in Poland in that quantity and quality there is. I mean, yesterday...
The quantity is not big. It's only 900 hectares. But yeah, I think the quality is really getting higher and higher and higher every year, every season.
And I was really impressed because we also like met each other yesterday in Warsaw at a Polish wine fair, organized by Ferment magazine, with 60 Polish winemakers.
Yes.
700 are there now in total, something like this, right? Or 600, I don't know. And I must really say I was very impressed by the average quality of the wines. But before we dive a little bit into Polish wine and into your winery, let's start a little bit with a personal introduction so people can get you as a winemaker a bit to know. So my first question I ask everybody, also for you, if you would not be a winemaker today, what would be your alternative career?
So I love music, and I had a band, and I played guitar, and music is my world. And I think there are a lot of similarities of music and wine, but I'm not a musician. I started maybe a little bit too late to play, and maybe I'm not so talented in music, but I love music, and definitely I was really excited. And we had a band. We played like jazz, rock stuff, something like that. But I love all kinds of music nearly. And I always dreamed about a kind of artistic career, because I like to express myself, and I think that today wines give me kind of expression of what I love, and it's an expression of beauty of nature, and yeah, those two words of art and music, and those three words and of nature and wine are, I think, quite close to each other.
Okay, wonderful. So very artistic touch. And I mean, like looking behind us here at your winery we are south of Warsaw, like 1.5 hours approximately, right? In a beautiful spot. I mean, if you want to see how it looks like here, I link definitely to some photos we took and some videos. Therefore, I'm very excited to hear the answer on the second question I have for you, because now you are a winemaker. And as I learned, the rest of your family is fairly artistic.
Kind of,
So I would like to know, if it comes to your style of winemaking today, is there anybody or any kind of school or experience that really influenced you?
But talking about wine experience?
Talking about your wine style today.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that I could met Heinrich Hartl from Austria, because it was my first touch of real winemaking. So in 2017, I spent a whole vintage with Heinrich close to Vienna, and it really immersed me into the world of wine. So I tasted my first wines from barrels. So it was my first discussion about clones of Pinot Noir. And first dinners with family of winemakers. So Heinrich is a third generation, and his wife Marie-Sophie, she's a WSET diploma, and she worked in Austrian wine agency. So a lot of great discussions about wine, and during that time, I realized that I would like to have my own winery, and that I would like to work with wine also with my wife. So we weren't a couple, married couple. At the time we were only a couple, but Anya also was invited by Heinrich and Marie, so she could also experience that time of it was like 2 weeks we spent together with Anya, and I spent there like 2.5 months or 2 months. So it was a really important experience for me. So we worked in the vineyards, picking up the fruits, but mainly, of course, in the cellar. And it was a fundamental time for what I do today, because it was the first time, and sometimes I call Heinrich as my godfather of winemaking, and he really likes that I call him like that.
So regards to Heinrich Hartl, and I think like everybody working in the industry who had the pleasure like sitting for a longer time, like a week or something, in a winemaker's home, eating dinner with the winemaker's family, being part of the process, knows about this very special feelings that you are describing, right? It's every time, very, very, very fascinating and lovely to be part of it.
Yes.
Third question for you. So if you you should describe your personality and who you are as a bottle of wine.
It's a difficult question. I think that I'm quite pedantic and precise. So I think that I'm quite a precise wine with a strong acidity, because I come from cold climate region from Poland. So higher acidity, no sugar.
No sugar, bone dry.
Bone dry. Kind of a new world of wine in an old world of wine style. So that's what I love. So I think that we are a new world of wine in an old world of wine region, whole image. I mean Europe, and that's me.
And then I think I can state, because we are in Poland and this is a big topic in Polish winemaking, you are definitely not a PV, correct?
I'm not a PV. I'm Vitis vinifera. I'm Vitis vinifera and native yeast fermented. So, and I'm organic. So.
And you're organic, perfect. Yeah. We will hear about this in a little bit. First, to close the introduction round, final statement for you. Nature. What does it mean for your work with wine in the vineyards?
So I live here. So I think the most fundamental thing is that I care about that place also in the meaning of it that I live here. So I have my home like 50 meters from here, just behind the winery. And so I believe that everything we do in the vineyards also influenced my life. I was really allergic in my childhood, so I really care about nature because I know how it is important, and we are organic mainly because of it. So because of our health and the health of the people who live here, and also the wider image of the region, Poland, Europe, and the world. So I think that we need to be aware of and conscious of how it is important to care about the soil, to care about the plants, and to not use too much of and the strong chemicals. So the first thing. And the second thing, I think the ecosystem. So I believe that wine is not only about the grapes from the vine, but the vine is in a wider image of the mesoclimate of the vineyard, of the surrounding of the vineyard. So I also would like to care about the place, because I think, and that's the expression of the place, that the expression of the terroir is also the expression of how you care about the lands you work with. So it's my kind of understanding the nature part of winemaking. And of course, the most important thing is fruit. So if fruit is good, then there is not a lot to do in the winery with fruit. So everything starts there in the vineyard.
I love this perspective because I couldn't agree more from my personal philosophy looking on winemaking.
It's simple.
It sounds that simple, but nonetheless, we all know that it's a bigger discussion talking then about, because I mean I see also like when I work with you through the vineyard a lot of like biodynamic inspiration maybe. I mean the whole like setup of your vineyard is settled into like a forest structure. So vitiforestry is also just like present naturally, and you have a lot of greens. You use the wolf mixture and think about soil health and all the stuff. So I think this is pretty cool to see that it's so much in the DNA of the vineyard. But that being said, could you briefly introduce us to who are you? What is the winery Kamil Barczentewicz?
So now we are in Dobre, the village in southeastern part of Poland, central southeast part of Poland. We are 2 hours, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours driving from Warsaw. We are close to Vistula River, the biggest Polish river, in the halfway from Krakow to Warsaw. We work with limestone soils because our hill goes down to Vistula River. Perfect exposure because it's a southwest mainly facing vineyard. We have close to us, I told you before, we have this kind of meadows, xerothermic meadows, which is natural meadows with plants which like warm, with flowers which like warm conditions. So in natural, so nature proves that it's a warm place, but limestone soils are not the only soils we have, because on the upper part, because of the glacier, we have some clay, we have some sand, we have some loess, and on the bottom part we have some loam soils. So it's pretty diverse, what I love, because this diversity brings diversity of wine in the glass. We work with Vitis vinifera varieties, like 97% is Vitis vinifera varieties, which is quite unique in Poland, because most of the vineyards work with hybrids or hybrids with vinifera, but we are nearly 100%, and I think in the future we will be 100% Vitis vinifera property. And that's about the vineyard. And about winemaking, I think I realized the path of non-intervention, of low intervention winemaking. It's not crazy natural winemaking, but it's low intervention winemaking, so spontaneous fermentation. Only sulfites added at the end of the profile, process. So the profile of the wine is clean, but without additives, which I believe that we don't need to add to the wine to have better wine.
So the typical 20 to 25 when bottling to hold it stable, or where are you in sulfites when you talk about?
Right now?
Yeah.
So right now, all the wines from 2024 have no sulfur.
No sulfur, okay.
So now they are on the lease, so in more reductive environments. So we don't need to add sulfur. We add sulfur just at the end, like 1 month or last 2-3 weeks before bottling.
So this is really what I find so fascinating. So I think this should be like an invitation also for everybody who doubts that wines with low amounts of sulfites can taste normal or something like this. I always say like, it's so exciting because I think we have a lot of winemakers at the Cool Climate Wine Summit that I would describe as natural in my definition, but maybe some in the natural wine scene would doubt that they are natural, right? But I really like this approach of saying, okay, you work as clean as possible in the vineyard, you work as organic and biodynamic as it fits into the
I'm
terroir.
not biodynamic, to be fair. Yeah. So we use some tools of biodynamics, but for example, we do not use biodynamic preparations to be fair, because I always would like to be fair. So
you pick the elements that are practical, so to say, from all the schools of thought, and then also like you work with like minimum sulfite, so to say, and also like very clean sort of in the cellar process. And I find it personally very fascinating that there come very, very classic, traditionally tasting terroir-driven wines out of this.
That's the goal.
Nothing funky, nothing crazy, nothing like natural wine. Just really, really pure product. Should we taste something of it?
Yeah,
you
sure.
brought something here, so
yes. So
and a Pinot, I see.
Yeah. I prepared 2 bottles. I really love them, and I think they kind of tell the story about the place. I will tell you mainly about Blaufränkisch, why I think like that. But also I think Pinot Blanc is one of the best variety in that place. So I like that pure expression of the variety. 12.5 alcohol, so perfect alcohol content for Pinot Blanc. That's steely and mineral character. So that bottle is Pinot Blanc Beton, which means that the wine was fermented in concrete egg, which is quite important for me and a lot of Polish people. When they think about my project, they also think about concrete eggs, because I was like kind of first who used concrete in Poland. And I had a story of working with concrete eggs in Chile. So in Viña Morandé, so it's kind of also reminds me some beautiful moments of working in Viña Morandé with Ricardo Betic. And we have here classical Burgundian variety, and I think Burgundian varieties are very good for my place because of our soils, limestone soils. Also here we have the oldest vineyard, only 2017, but our oldest. And it's the first vintage when I did everything according to my first idea. So spontaneous fermentation, 9 months on the lees, just before bottling, addition of sulfite, what we talked before. And and I really love that wine.
I'm very, very excited.
It's not shouting. It's
floral.
Yeah.
It's nice. Somewhere on the edge between like orchard and stone fruit. Very finely on the edge. It comes with some urbanness and some, let's say, needs that spicy characteristics. Some ginger maybe or something like this. Some hints of saffron. I think the concrete egg is coming out really nicely because it comes with this like sweaty minerality in the nose that really suits Pinot Blanc in my opinion very well. Got a little bit malolactic, I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a little bit here.
So when we started to work with all the wines with spontaneous fermentation, malolactic comes with alcoholic fermentation same time. So it had that effect, but with acidity of that place, we can have fresh wine after malolactic, and malolactic gives more texture on the palate. So I think it's good. It's good.
I'm excited to taste it. It's this really lingers. The minerality is coming out extremely nicely. It's fresh, but extremely light and delicate still. But as you say, like, of course, the least contact, the malolactic gives it still like a little bit of body.
Yeah.
So it's really perfectly like in this balance to some extent, right? It's a kind of interesting Pinot Blanc, because I think sometimes, Pinot Blanc, the easier you have the like, let's say, very simple stuff. Let's say German Weißburgunder for €5 a bottle that you use for a Schorle or something like this, or just like for refreshing drinking. And then you maybe have the, like, in my opinion, the more advanced Pinot Blancs where they're so complex and advanced that you need food to them. But here it's really like a wine where I say, just like for the craftsmanship, I would just like sip on the bottle. Maybe with some cheese to it or something like this. But it's just like beautiful, and I would like to see how it develops in the glass and it opens up. So Pinot Blanc was the first you planted?
Yes. In 2017 we planted Pinot Blanc and Pinot Noir. We also planted that time some Regent, but we ripped out a small Regent vineyard because it was on the bottom and we had a frost issue, and we harvested just a little of fruit, just a little of fruit. So I decided to rip out that vineyard. But Pinot Blanc, I think, perfectly suits to our place, as well as Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So Burgundian varieties, I'm sure that those varieties are perfect for the place.
Now walk us a little bit through the process, because I mean, maybe to explain a little bit to people who now have this question: why did you choose this place, and why did you start planting Pinot varieties in Poland? So what happened back then when you started the winery?
So I was looking for that place because I'm from Lublin. So today you are heading to Lublin. It's the city when I was born in coats of arms, how to say, the logo of the city, the
symbol of the city.
In the symbol of the city, there is a goat which jump into a vine plant, because in the past in that city we had a vineyard. Even we have one district which is called Wieniawa, and some people say that maybe it's kind of connection to Winnica, because the name is quite similar. Wieniawa and Winnica, and our city is the city of the hills.
Okay.
So in the past there were vineyards, and I was looking for the best place for the vineyard close to Lublin, because my family is from Lublin, because family of Ania, my wife, is also from Lublin. So I was driving around the city, let's say, close to the Vistula River, so the west part of Lubelszczyzna, the region of Lublin, and I was looking for best place, and I was evaluating 3 places. All the places were on the hills, all the places were with limestone, but I think that place is particularly good, and also it is closer to Kazimierz and Warsaw, and it was possible to have a land in one hill. So I'm very happy that our vineyards are not split to some different places that are here. So we are sitting
we see it from here, exactly.
Yes, 500 meters from the vineyard.
We look onto your vineyard. It's beautiful, actually. Yeah.
So it was really important to me to have limestone in the soils, to have good exposure, to be close to Vistula River because of mitigating effect on the climate. And why Pinot varieties? So I tasted one Pinot Blanc in 2016 before I planted the vineyard, and it was from the area, from more sandy soils, but it wasn't maybe a perfect wine, but I really saw in that wine that it was like easy drinking Pinot Blanc, but I saw in that wine that this variety should work here, because it was ripe, it was clean, it was everything on point, it was good alcohol level, it was good acidity, and I thought that with good location, with limestone soils, so limestone, Burgundy, it's kind of obvious that it should work, like Pinot Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir with limestone soils. The different thing is, for example, with Riesling. You are German, so you know that Riesling is not a variety made for, let's say, limestone soils. There are not a lot of limestone vineyards of Riesling, but with Burgundian varieties is like obvious thing. So that's why Pinot Blanc in here. And also I checked a lot of Aglen index, Winkler indexes, which shows which variety ripens quick, and Pinot Blanc is one of the varieties which ripen very quickly before Chardonnay, before Pinot Noir, and I thought perfect for the place, and also I think a really important variety for the whole context of Eastern West European winemaking, like all the Weissburgunders from Germany, Austria, all the Riesling Biale, or how to say in Czech, not Riesling, but Burgundskie Biale.
Yeah.
Burgundskie Biale, and so I think it's one of the most beautiful varieties, a little bit under radar because of the older or younger brother Chardonnay. So a little bit under radar, which is to me a little bit sad, because to me it's beautiful variety and very elastic, and you can make beautiful wines of it in cool climate regions.
I couldn't agree more personally. I'm a big Weissburgunder fan, or like Pinot Blanc fan in that regard. You already like hinted a little bit to your approach now, where you said you looked at Winkler tables and so on and so forth. One thing that you also like, let's say, really dived into is choosing the right clones here.
Yes.
Correct? So this was also like very important for you to think about which clones for the respective varieties.
Yeah, of course, mainly with Pinot Noir, because discussion about clones of Pinot Noir is much wider than discussion about Pinot Blanc clones. Of course, we have 3 clones of Pinot Noir, of Pinot Blanc, but 6 different clones of Pinot Noir. So yeah, clonal selection is an important topic to me. And I think with the new plantation, I would have more and more and more and more clones, as diverse as possible, simply speaking.
And you have 12 hectares today.
Yes.
That you basically work.
The main team is around 3-4 people.
3-4 people, okay.
But also during the season we have 3-4 more who works us with all the manual works in the vineyard. We work quite a lot, as you could see. It's I think I think the perfection in vineyard and in cellar is really important to produce good wine, and it's the only rule how to produce good wine: perfection in every step. So we work during a season in team of 8-10 people.
8-10 people in the season, okay.
During harvest twice, like 20, because we pick every vineyard by hand. And we need to have a bigger team during the harvest. So during winter, it's only me, Claudia, Marcin, but during summer season, it's more bigger team, and during harvest, of course, 20 people.
And maybe like using this to like discuss a little bit general like structural question about Polish wine. I mean, the whole like wine industry at the moment is maybe a little bit under pressure in most European core markets. People don't find enough labor. Germany, massive problem at the moment. How do you perceive that like in Poland? Because I mean, you are off the radar, I think, even for many people who are educated in the wine industry. Is it like when you need support, or when you need somebody for a role, that suddenly there are like 5 people standing and saying we want to work for you? Or is it networks that you use? Or how do you perceive the whole like thing about being from a up and coming wine region, being fairly an underdog? You made a name for yourself by now. Is it also like recognized in the wine scene in that regard?
So Claudia, she's the only member of team not from here. She moved to our village to work with us, so I'm very happy, because she's really helpful, and she has a passion to wine, and for me it's the most important thing when you work with wine, to have passion to it. And the rest of the team are the people from our village Dobre. So they are trained by me with no other kind of thinking how to do it. So we had a few members of team who worked, for example, in Mosel. But to be honest, I prefer to work with the people who work only in orchards, in other crops, because then I can train them with my vision of how to do the things. So I'm quite pedantic about some works in the vineyards. So for example, we prune using Simonite and Tirk method, which is quite complicated. We do a lot of work during the season, and with the team which is trained only by me and with my vision of how to work with the vines, I think it's perfect. So yeah, all the team from the beginning trained by me, and I really trust the team we have. And now after those 8 years, I'm quite sure that even when I go to Copenhagen or to London or elsewhere, the work is done correctly here. Of course, I need to be here and decide when to do and what to do, but the team is really perfect, and I love my team.
Wonderful. It's and I like also like the relation to as supporting, so to say, the local community, as being anchored in the local community.
And the thing is that we are in a, we are off the main track of Polish, let's say, map, and people are really proud that we are sending our pallets to Berlin, to Zurich, to London, to Dublin, to Spain, of course to Warsaw, and people are really proud that they are a part of what we are doing here, and that our wine from like a small village from region of Lublin goes to the tables around Europe. So I'm very happy that we can do it together.
I can totally understand that. Shall we try some red wine, because you have you have something standing there, and that is also like something I think is really, really exciting, because I mean we talked about it a little bit before when we were in the vineyard, and I think people who deal a little bit with, like, let's say, Scandinavian red wines, and also like the Polish red wines and cool climate wines in general. White wines, we all can agree, and sparkling wine, we can all agree that the cool climate regions really are on par with Germany or something like this. Okay, maybe sometimes with PV varietals and so on and so forth. But I think red wine is always where the question marks come up, right? Is Poland really able to create high quality red wine? So I think your take is clear on it, right?
So from the beginning, my idea was to work with red varieties, and especially at the beginning, I was more into red wines. Now I cannot say what I like more, because I love every wine. but especially at the beginning, I was more in the red wine, let's say, spectrum. So my goal was to think how to make here good red wine, and how to broke the rumor that we cannot produce a good red wine here in Poland. And I'm happy after those 8 years that I think I broke I break that rule, and that myth. And today our red wines are especially appreciated by Polish customers, and also I see working on export market that London, that Copenhagen, that Berlin, that different parts of Europe likes our reds, because it's a light-bodied, old school red wine. So like Pinot Noir, like from the former Burgundy, so 12% of alcohol, and the same with Blaufränkisch. Here we have only 11, and you have 11. It's 10.9, but we need to put 11 on the label. But it's a full wine. It's a complex wine. You don't need to have additional 1% of alcohol to have that wine perfect.
I mean, what made me like excited about the wine from the beginning when I tasted it the first time is, I mean, we talked about it. I'm a passionate lover of Blaufränkisch. I think it's one of the most overseen terroir grape varieties in the red side that we have. But it has a problem, because Austria is getting warmer, Hungary is getting much warmer, so the classic Keckfränkisch, Blaufränkisch style we know from there is getting in most regions, unfortunately, more and more cooked. Easily in the Burgenland, we have 14.5% alcohol. And I personally don't really know if it suits Blaufränkisch actually, because it should, in my opinion, exactly be similar to Pinot Noir, this kind of refreshing, acidic, light variety. And this is something that is, of course, here possible with the 11% alcohol. And what I find as especially fascinating about the style, I mean, it is enormously fresh and fruity. The acidity is coming out nicely. I mean, it's so fresh cherries as it can be. Although often you assign Blaufränkisch a little bit darker fruit profile, but you really get like a very fresh cherry profile here. At the same time, the tannic structure, I think for Blaufränkisch is really beautiful, actually, how it comes nice. It really has some backbone, lingers there, the tannins are present, but
sandish, like not very high. They are present but refreshing, not too much.
You put it very well. Exactly. I think this is so beautiful. So what do you do with the wine? Walk us through the process for the Blaufränkisch.
So it's a simple winemaking. So we put our fruit, we destemmed our fruit, we put them to open oak casks, 1,000 liters. We do pigeage once or 2 times a day. Native yeast fermentation, and then 40-50% of the wine goes to the barrels, and 50% goes to stainless steel to have more fresh part of it. I particularly love the character of our Blaufränkisch because it always had that peppery, black pepper character, some herbal character, which I really love. So it's a bottle I opened yesterday. So sometimes it's a little bit less of that character, maybe even now.
I think it's very present. I mean, it's some thyme and oregano notes in that regard. I think the pepper perspective is clearly there.
Some wet leaves, like
tobacco, some wet tobacco leaves, something like this.
Or like a floral autumn leaves in the forest. Sometimes it is present.
And what I like about it is like Blaufränkisch, what I often appreciate about it is that it has a little bit of like an animalic touch, like a little bit like a bloody touch, but here it's really subtle. It's not like so on the nose how it sometimes can be. So it's really, really interesting. The oak you use is Hungarian oak already for this one, or is that?
So we have some Hungarian barrels, and we especially use them for our Blaufränkisch. Also some Slavonian from the northern part of Croatia. And French oak. So let's say nearly 100% of French oak we use to our Pinot, but to our Blaufränkisch we put a Mitteleurope fingerprint because of also barrel usage.
And I think a little bit of bragging is allowed because Jamie Goode has been at the Cool Climate Wine Summit 2025, wrote a super lovely article about our Polish masterclass that Adam Michocki was holding. I link it in the show notes actually to the video and on Spotify. So if you want to read the Jamie Goode review of the 2025 Polish wine masterclass. But Jamie was also here. And visited you. And actually, the Blaufränkisch, you told me, was the wine that he rated best in his article.
Yes, 95 points, which was something big in Poland. I had a lot of lovely messages from my friends with congratulations that our Polish wine, has a rating like that, like 95 points from Jamie. So I was very happy.